You are listening to the 5 a.m. podcast, and today is your day. Welcome to the 5 a.m. podcast, where we explore the transformative ideas that help entrepreneurs build businesses that serve their lives, not consume them. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Brandon Gano, a visionary entrepreneur whose journey epitomizes the evolution from grinding business operator to strategic business owner. Brandon built a successful business from the ground up, ultimately franchising and selling it for a significant profit. But what makes his story truly compelling isn't just the financial outcome. It's the personal revelation that came with it. After spending years working 80-plus hours a week and missing that precious family time, Brandon discovered that business growth and personal freedom are not mutually exclusive. Through a series of intentional shifts, he transformed his approach to business ownership, dramatically reducing his working hours while exponentially increasing his company's performance. Today, alongside his business partner, Sean Delaney, Brandon is pioneering an innovative approach to helping small business owners escape the operational trap that captures so many entrepreneurs. Through his company, HumanOp, he's created systems that allow business owners to leverage their natural strengths while building structures that don't depend on their constant presence. Now, a warm welcome to you as you listen and watch wherever that might be. Please consider sharing this with 3 of your friends. I know that many are going to enjoy this conversation. And of course, thanks to our friends that have ventured over to buymeacoffee.com/5am podcast and bought us a few of those delicious virtual cups of coffee this week and last. We certainly do appreciate all levels of support. And now, Brandon, it's great to have you here. Welcome to the 5 a.m. podcast.
Thanks for having me, Michael. I am excited to be here. And hey, I love coffee too. So if anyone wants to send me some coffee gift cards, I won't say no.
That's good. We do love the coffee. You, like most, have really had your nose to the grindstone and worked far more hours than necessary, maybe like a small Welsh child in the coal mines way back in the day. 80 hours a week. And you were successful in building your business, so much so that somebody wanted to buy it. And so while working all of those hours, what was it that made you want to build something that you could maybe franchise and sell?
To me, the franchise idea and the growth by franchise came before I even started the business, which is a little bit backwards for some, but I always liked that concept. My dad actually still owns a business that is part of a national franchise. Okay. And I loved the idea that you could be in this community, because a lot of times, go back to social media, right?
Yeah, right.
It's a competition. And until you really get ingrained somewhere, you don't see that it doesn't have to be that way. And that business can be fun. It can be collaborative, and you could have friends who do the same thing, sell the same product or service. And you could do it together and you can both win. And that was always my mindset, is outside of sports and very rare occasions, sports and war, right? You can all win. You can cut the pie in multiple ways and everybody can be happy. So if I take that philosophy to business, it's not a me against you. There's no local competition. There's no national or international competition. It's not Apple versus Microsoft, right?
Yeah, right.
There's enough people to serve for us all to do it in our own way. And I just like the idea of playing this game with other people. So I said, okay, I could go the route of creating a really big business that dominates the marketplace, or I could create a successful model that would then serve other people, also serve myself, and serve the end user and our customers, and really change the way an industry is done. And that's the route that just resonated most with me. Not that either one of those is right or wrong, but for me, it was the collaboration, the team, the family feel that I was most drawn to.
Wow, that's interesting. I hadn't heard franchising explained in that way before. That it is a that you're entering a community and building relationships. And I will say, my friend Kieran has a couple of franchise businesses, and he and I have been talking recently. So it's been kind of priming the pump of the benefits of franchises and how it really seems to be, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but a rising tide that is floating a lot of boats.
Should be. Right. And that's, every franchise is independent, and then every franchise location or franchise owner, really, they may
Gotcha.
have multiple
Yeah.
locations, but they are also independent. I think done well, it can be and should be that. But I've also seen the flip side, unfortunately, where it kind of is an interfamily competition, and it is a
Gotcha.
dog eat dog reality. So if you want to get into franchising, I know that's not what we're here to talk about, but
No.
I would say do your homework and interview as many people as possible. Because if you are looking for the collaborative aspect, you should and may get that, but you may be unpleasantly surprised. So buyers beware.
That's good to know. So, where did the work ethic come that caused you or enabled you to work such long hours and to have this long-term goal to build something?
I would love to say that I have a really good work ethic. And
Okay.
I so admire you for phrasing the question that way
Okay, good.
to give me that layup. It came out of fear, to be honest with you.
Okay.
When I started my business, my wife was just pregnant with our oldest. We had just moved into our first home. We had been renting an apartment before that, so we just got a dog too. Like, in the grand scheme of
Okay.
things, that's
Ticking
probably the
all the
lowest on the
boxes.
list. But
Yeah.
yeah, added to the things of things that would drive me, and I had this fear of like, if this doesn't work, I'm gonna ruin our family. I won't be able to put food on the table for my kid, for my wife. We'll have to sell
Right.
this home. We'll go homeless. And it spiraled out of control,
Yeah.
right? So to me, that was the only way to provide quote unquote safety and security, was to work really hard and make sure the thing didn't
Mm,
fail. And not that I wasn't working for massive success. It was really
right.
the avoidance of failure that drove me.
Yeah.
Over time, that did turn into it turned successful, obviously. I mean, I was able to scale and sell the business, but in the beginning, it wasn't really a good work ethic as much as it was a devastating
Yeah.
fear of failure.
Right. Well, hey, whatever gets you down the road. I mean, sometimes we need a stick, sometimes we need a carrot.
That's right. I
But
was all stick.
you were all stick, whipping yourself. What was that breaking point then, or maybe not a breaking point, maybe a sore back that made you realize something needed to change?
It was literally the sore back. It was when
Yeah.
people say blood, sweat, and tears. It was all
Huh?
of those things. It was a physical business. It was a manufacturing type business, and all of those things were present. But what really got me was I want to say a year and a half or so, maybe 2 years into it. My son was 6 months old, and my wife was making the transition back to work. She was a teacher at the time, third grade teacher. And when she was going back to work, we made the decision together to have me take my son to work. And I thought
Okay.
it was gonna be cool because I was like, oh, this is awesome. We don't have to put him in daycare. I get to spend more time with him. I'll get to raise him, which I wouldn't get to do because I was at work all day. But this fear of failure was still there. So I was kind of head down all the time. And not that I didn't spend time with him,
Mm-hmm.
but I was physically present, but I wasn't
Yeah.
I wasn't emotionally and mentally present. And I kind of had this awakening where I paused for a minute and I was like, this is not the way it's supposed to be. Like, I really don't know this child. I don't know anything about him. I'm
Mm-hmm.
missing milestones and I'm here for them. Like, that's
Yeah.
weird. So that's where I had to just reevaluate my reality and say, is this what I want? Is this working? And is this what I want for him? And is this what I want for my legacy with him? I knew we
Right.
wanted more kids. Well, I didn't. My wife did, but
Yeah.
I love all my kids. But I knew I had to be a better example of a father and a leader. And that just wasn't going to cut it. So
Yeah.
that's where I really had to take a step back and evaluate if it was even sustainable.
Yeah. Isn't that the question? Hey, is all this effort to put all these eggs in the basket, is it worth it at the end of the day? So then, in your experience, is there maybe a fundamental difference between people who would say they're job owners versus a business owner? And maybe I think you and I have talked in the past about the E Myth Revisited book. But yeah, do you see that there being a mindset shift that has to take someone from owning a job to owning a business?
I'd say there's a mindset shift, but then there's also milestones that you can measure where you're at in that progress. So the mindset shift for me was getting over, I'd say it's more of an aspect of control, right? And
Okay.
maybe some
Yeah.
perfectionism. Like, I'm the best at this. I'm going to do it the right way, why don't I just keep doing it? No, that's the incorrect
Yeah.
mindset.
Right.
Actually, I was talking with a client this morning who said those exact words. And for her, and for me, it's understanding that if you put the work in up front to train somebody else, to create a process around it, to make sure that you educate someone else to do it, it's not going to be up to your standards the first time. But in the long run, and ideally this doesn't take all that long, maybe a couple of weeks or a couple of months at most, depending on the complexity, they're probably going to do better than you. So there's this dip in productivity or performance or measurable, whatever we're measuring,
Right.
for a very short period of time, but it's a dip and then it's a rise. It's an increase in the output. And as business owners, we need to get past that mindset of, I'm the one that started this. I'm the one that does it best. I'm the founder. I should do it. Whatever that
Yes.
you're saying to yourself about it, somebody else can do it better because you learned how to do it too. So someone
Yeah.
else can learn how to do it. That's the mindset. Once I got past that, then it's the milestones. How long can you step away from your business without it falling apart? That's the measuring stick of where you're at on that sliding scale of job owner versus business owner. I've used that with myself. I've used it with
Right.
clients. And to me, that's the best measuring stick. Financial performance has absolutely nothing to do with it. I found that over and over and over. Your finances are an outcome, and they're a measure. They're a metric. Nothing beyond that. They shouldn't be a goal. They shouldn't be a focus. They're how you're measuring your performance. So the time piece, though, if you can only step away from your business for 2 hours before someone texts you with a problem, you're a job owner. If you can get up to 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 weeks, ideally you want to get as close to 3 or 4 weeks as possible. That's the mark of becoming a business owner. It's when the success of the business isn't tied to your physical presence, or if you work virtually, your virtual presence.
Yes. Right.
That's how you can really define becoming a business owner, true business owner.
Well, that's an excellent way to quantify that, of how long can your face not darken the door. That's good. That's good. And you've mentioned too that I've wrote this down just as a quote here of, your business is not broken. Your business is broken, but it's not your fault. What's that most common misconception entrepreneurs have about the why behind their struggle?
This is going to sound so cynical. They think it's somebody else's fault.
Okay.
And I had to come to that reality too, but it's really, it all flows through you. And when I say that, let me just rephrase it so I
Sure.
don't hurt
Yes.
people's feelings. It all flows through me. If I set the business up and it's running a certain way and it's not performing the way I think it should, think it could, or want it to, it's because I set that up. Now, it's not because there's anything wrong with me. It's because I just didn't do it in a way that would reach those results that I
Yeah.
want or expect. So
Okay.
what I found very early on, back to that breaking point, was I need, not I should or I want, I need to surround myself with people who have been there, done that, and can help me get to where I wanted to go. And in the beginning, that was a mentor who had massive success in the industry that I was in. And he was at a point in his life where he was retired, but paying it back in the form of coaching, consulting, and mentoring another group of business owners in this industry. And that catapulted my success in a matter of months to beyond where I thought it could be in a matter
Yeah.
of years.
Right.
So I got that little taste of what true help is like. And I said, whoa, this is crazy. If I just keep doing that over and over and over, I can get way further along. And I'll avoid the stupid mistakes that I was going to make because
Right.
they've already made them.
Yeah.
And that's a philosophy that I've just taken with me. What is it? 6, 7 years later at this point, I always seek advisors. And it's a biblical principle too. It's in Proverbs. I think we talked about that when you were on
we did. Yes.
my podcast.
That's
That
right.
is such a foundational principle for how I run my life. Not that I'm looking for external validation, but I want blind spot awareness for sure.
Yes.
Because if other people can see what I can't, I am less likely to make a bad decision. And that to me is the ultimate self-awareness in any decision making.
Yeah, that's good. And thank you for bringing up Proverbs too, because that's something we did talk about. And there is a chapter for every day of the month. And in the multitude of counselors, there's victory. And we sure
That's
need
right.
to be sure who we surround ourselves with. And there's still work that we can do on ourselves. And sometimes there's work that we can help other people do on themselves. But I wanted to talk about your 4D strategy, the delete, delegate, delay, and do. How can business owners effectively implement this framework, as we're calling it now, to reclaim their time?
I love this framework. This is the brainchild of my business partner and very good friend Sean Delaney, who you mentioned
Okay.
in my
Yes.
intro. So all credit to him on this one. Although I use it with myself and clients all the time, I do want to take a quick time out and pause and say, you mentioned to me on my podcast the 31 Proverbs, 31
Yes.
days in the month,
That's
generally
right.
speaking. I've been doing that. So I've been reading
Good.
a proverb a day for what is
Nice.
it, 2-3 months now since we met.
Cool. Yes.
And that's the coolest thing ever. I do my normal Bible reading, but I always finish the day with that. It's this little hit of wisdom before I go to bed.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy that every time you read it, you pick up something different. So
It's
for the
true.
listeners, if you
It
haven't
is
started,
true.
start today. Start doing that today. So thank
Man.
you, Michael, for
Yes.
that.
Oh, my pleasure. Yes.
But so to go back to the 4Ds, yeah, you hit them. And most business owners filter them in the actually the reverse order. So they go through it as do, delegate, delay, delete. And when we filter things, whether it's decisions or tasks, activities, through it that way, we're
Yeah.
immediately thinking, can I do this? How can I do this? When can I do this? And we think we have to do it. So the first shift we have to make is reversing the order and filtering every, again, decision, task, activity through through the filter, through the framework in that order, starting with the question of, can
Yeah.
I delete this?
Hmm.
Do I even have to do it? Is it going to get me closer to my goals? Now, I'm talking about it in the context of business, but I personally use it for my life as well. I mean, is this something I have to do right now? Can I delete it? Can I not take out the garbage, and will anything fall apart? Now, men, the answer is no. You have to do it right now if it's the
Yeah.
garbage. But it's that first line of defense to say, pause. Is this something that's really going to help me? And should I do it? If the answer is no, forget about it. Boom, you've already lightened your mental load. The second filter, let's say you can't delete it. It is something that actually has to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have to be done right now? So that's the delay piece. Do I need to do it today? Is it urgent and important? Or can I delay it for a couple of hours, a couple of days, weeks, months, whatever the time frame may be? Again, we're looking at lightening the mental load, the cognitive load, because the more you carry, the less you can do and the lower you perform. So if we can delay things to the future, what I will say about this is don't just mentally delay it, like put it on the calendar and then get it completely out of your mind. So if it's, paying your taxes, you have to do it, so you can't delete it, but
Yeah.
do you have to do it today? Probably not. If it's January 1st, you have until April 15th to pay the taxes.
You got time.
Don't go till April 15th, but put it on the calendar for January 21st. Talk to your
Mm-hmm.
accountant, schedule it, do it in the future, but get it off of your mind, right? If you can't delay it, can you delegate it? So this is the third layer of the filter to say you have to do it. It can't be delayed. It's urgent and important. But are you the one who is uniquely skilled and capable of doing it? The answer in the short term for some things might be yes, that you have to do it, to which case then we would go to the fourth phase
Yes.
of actually doing it. But to me, that's a trigger of saying, oh, that's something that I should write down and either create an SOP, create a training doc around it, and be able to delegate to other people. We want to build up the number of things that we can delegate and then reserve our effort, energy, and attention for the things above the golden line or the things that we actually do.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can get as many tasks as possible through those first three filters to where they don't ever come to your plate and your calendar, that's amazing. And the things that do make it to your calendar, ideally, they should light you up. It should be things you
Right.
want to do, not the things that drain your energy. So that's how that filter and that framework works. But just going through it in that order. Can I delete it? Do I have to do it right now? Can somebody else do it? Crap, I'll do it. But ooh, yay,
Yes.
I love doing it.
That's right. Yeah. Leave the stuff that that you love to do for yourself. And we can be a little selfish in delegation and find the right people that can help shoulder the load. So then I wanted to then ask, have you seen evidence of being able to do this as it's actually been a tool or a framework to help reclaim time?
Absolutely. Because most business owners, everyone that I've worked with and ever met, to be honest with you, at some point in their journey, just lets those things fall to the do side, or they just think they have to. They think because they're the owner, the founder, the CEO, insert your title here, that they have to be doing more than what they already are doing. And I push back and I argue, just why? If it's not lighting you up,
Uh-huh.
then it probably would light somebody else up. Maybe you have that person on your team, maybe you don't.
Yes.
I'll give you a perfect example, both personally and professionally. Personally, finances. My wife hates finances. There's nothing she hates more than dealing with bank accounts and budgeting and all that stuff. Guess who happens to love all that? Me. So
Yeah.
why would I give it to her, and why would she waste her time and energy
Uh-huh.
doing it if it's something that naturally excites me and lights me up? And we have this similar examples with her. Homeschooling, for example. Please don't let me homeschool our children. It will go poorly. I think everything's easy and they should just pick it up. Well, guess what?
Right.
Kids don't work that way. But she's a former teacher, so she is absolutely gifted to do that. Professionally, I love creating order, creating systems, creating SOPs, training manuals, all that fun stuff, helping people
Right.
understand how to simplify something and do it efficiently. That's my jam. Some people hate that. There's people on our team, they're creative. They want to go create marketing content. They want to go create new ideas, explore future
Mm.
possibilities for the
Uh-huh.
company. I don't really want to do that. It's kind of boring to me. So it's not that you're delegating the bad tasks, quote
Right.
unquote, because for everything you like doing, there's someone who hates it. And for everything you hate doing, there's
Yes.
someone that absolutely loves it. So it's about finding that balance and really forgetting roles and titles and job descriptions, working with the human beings that are in the company or in your family. And
Right.
that's how you can get back to those things that you actually like doing, that you uniquely can do. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, it does reclaim your time. So fully circle back to this question.
Yes.
Once we identify what those things are, you could actually, and I've seen this happen, you could be doing more than you currently are, but in less time, because it's all
Mm.
things that give you energy and you're excited about.
Right.
Typically, when we do tasks that just drain our energy and we find boring, we do them slower. So
Yeah.
the reclaiming time, it might not be like just getting everything off your plate. It could actually be working more efficiently and faster. And that's how you get your time back. So people often confuse that. It's like, oh, I can't delegate. I don't have a team. I don't have a VA,
Right.
blah, 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 whatever it is. You might be surprised with how much time you gain by just staying in your lane.
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking, there's a lot of roads we could go down after that one, but I was going to ask you about the VAs. It's such a different business world and so much opportunity and potential now than even just 10 years ago. But before we head down that side trail, I wanted to ask you then, it sounds like your human assessment tool actually fits in really well of understanding someone's true nature. And how can this then, or how does it function, or how does it impact the effectiveness of a business owner?
Yeah, so when we talk about personality assessments, I'll do this super quick.
Sure.
We could go on for hours about
Yeah, I bet.
just this, but let's separate them into two buckets. There are the personality assessments that everybody's heard of: Colby, Myers-Briggs, DISC, Enneagram, blah, 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 list goes on. All of them fit into asking questions of subjective nature, behavioral, cognitive. It's all how the user perceives themselves in the world and how they think the
Yeah,
world perceives
it's a
them
good
in,
way to
in
put it.
return.
Yeah.
Great, don't get me wrong. I mean, and a lot of them are really cool. It's cool to read the reports and kind of
Yes.
see the feedback about yourself. Directionally accurate, not scientifically accurate, because
Yeah,
those things
right.
can change in a moment. I can give you a fact about the world that would change your answer to several of those questions, immediately invalidating the results.
Yes.
Our assessment, and I didn't come up with this, there's a a whole bunch of people way smarter than me. Who did? Our co-founder, actually, she discovered this technology. She didn't even create it. She just observed nature, plants, animals, living things, and realized that this algorithm was present. Based on how you physically look in the world, we can determine your natural capabilities and tendencies. And it's true of all living things. So she was able to create an algorithm for people based on how you look. And we ask you questions that are non-discriminatory. And it's totally DEI, HIPAA, everything compliant. So you don't have to worry about that. We can figure out what naturally drives you and what naturally suits who you personally are. So back to that, those tasks that give you energy or drain you, we can tell you what those are in advance. So yes, for businesses, first and foremost on yourself as a leader. You can figure out what type of leader you are, how you best relate and communicate with others, how to best understand other people. And then for the tasks and what you do, what are those things that actually light you up? Now take that to every person in your organization and do the same for them. Figure out the interpersonal dynamics, how we work together best as a team, where our weak spots are, and then also what are the tasks that we're all supposed to be doing. And if we can identify that, you have so much power as a business owner because you can, without draining people, without burning them out, you can actually help them perform at a peak level of productivity for extended periods of time to be sustainable.
Right.
As my headphones die here. So that was fun. But yeah, it's an incredible technology. It's so powerful. And I've never seen anything like it in business. And that's why I was so excited to join this team.
And it makes sense too, because if you can activate people in that way. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we're going through this great and varied conversation with my friend Brandon, we'd love to hear from you. So if you have some comments, we got a comment section. And of course, you can email if you're listening at 5ampodcast.com. Fortunately, we do have those little comment bars pretty much everywhere, and we'd love to hear from you. So feel free to put a little bit of feedback in there. And Brandon, how can people get in touch with you? They're listening to this and they're thinking, I need that assessment.
Absolutely. And I'd love for you to take it. So my gift to you is the assessment's free. That's not really the gift. We wanted it to be free for as many people as possible, just because of the power of it and the clarity that it will give you about yourself and in the context of this conversation in your business. And that's going to do so much for you, I promise. The gift though is, so go to humanop.com. You'll see an area to take that assessment. You can learn about everything else we do, but go to our products, go to the assessment, take it. It takes about 10 minutes. If you reach out to me, send me an email. It's brandon@humanop.com, and Michael will make sure that's in the show notes.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. Just tell me you took it. I would love to take you behind the scenes and show you the back end results, because you get way more insight into who you are, how to use it, how it works. And we'll talk about specifically for your business, how you can leverage this new knowledge of yourself to really accelerate your growth, your success, and hopefully stop working so much and burning yourself out. So that's my gift. There's no sale at the other end of that call. The app is free, the assessment's free. But if you go there and you commit to learning more about yourself, I would love to help you and kind of get you to that next step even faster.
Yeah, that's great and generous of you too. And it's always nice to understand understand why something is happening. But even looking at this and from what you're telling me, this is actually probably a much easier and better way to retain staff, of putting them through this so that they actually love coming to work. And I know when I was crewing hockey games or other sporting events, I was talking to other producers and I'd say, listen, the environment that we want to create, of course, it's a pressure cooker and it's really high stress. But if our camera op or VTR op is choosing between us and somebody else, we want them to choose us.
Yeah, as far as the staff retention, I mean, we've even seen this with clients. I've personally seen it. I've heard the stories about what's been done over the last 20 years, but I've personally seen it working with clients too, where a lot of people these days are kind of over the the benefits and the salary. Like, that's not the only thing that's going to help people decide to stay at a job or choose a job. They really want to see a path for personal and professional growth. This is one of those tools that stands out and really is a differentiator for a lot of companies, because if they can see that they're going to learn so much more about themselves and how to have a happier, more peaceful existence within this company, who's not going to want to stay in that environment? And it's not, it's not the end all be all. You still have to pay people well. You still have to
Yeah.
have the benefits. But a study was actually done at Disney where they pay in their industry at about the 50th percentile. And what's so beautiful about that stat and that study is that tells me everything I need to know about what really drives people in business. Money is usually the third to fifth thing on the list when people are deciding to stay, leave, or join a company. It's the mission, vision, and values of the organization, and it's how the people can grow personally and professionally within that company. People are so bought into Disney and they see the career development there
Gotcha.
that they join and they stay and they work for lower wages that they could elsewhere.
Wow.
It's the same thing with this. If you can show people that you truly care about them as human beings and you want to help them develop, it might just be that thing that pushes somebody over the edge to join your company, or it could absolutely be the thing that keeps them there because they can't foresee working for another organization that isn't going to care for them the same way. So yeah, you're spot on, Michael.
That's good. Yeah, there was, if I can compare and contrast two different, let's say, television networks that I've worked for in the past, one was totally move up from within and constantly training their people, honing their skills, letting people know where they should apply. And for, hey, so-and-so is leaving. I think you need to apply for that job. Then there was another company that I was working for, and there was just none of that. And boy, the staff would just drop like flies off. And it would seem to come in waves. And, you would hear the VP or somebody complaining, man, there's a lot of attrition and people are going and I don't understand it. And I was like, man, read the room, pal. And people, they realize it's a concrete ceiling above you. It's got some sound deadening in the sound booth, but, people realize that they're not going to get out of where they're at and they're not going to move up in the company. And wow. So, getting back to the list of questions that I was thinking of asking you today, I did see one on here, and it says that we often hear about finding balance between work and life, but your approach seems to go deeper than that. How do entrepreneurs then, or how do you help entrepreneurs align their business with their personal strengths and priorities?
Yeah, I really hate the word balance just in general, because think about this. And this is I'm not knocking the question at all, because it's a very, very good question and I don't want to ignore it. Think about a balance though. What is a balance? It's two opposite forces acting against each other, all trying to compete for the same space. By definition, you're always going to be in competition. Work-life balance. That means your work is competing with your life. Yeah. And I mean, I shared my personal story. It for sure did that. There was a lot of competition and one side was consistently losing. We've rephrased that and say, we want work-life harmony.
Yeah.
Replace the word balance with harmony. So many beautiful things can happen. And when you think about this in the context of an organization as well, if you have an orchestra, let's say there's one person in the orchestra. Obviously that's not an orchestra, that's one individual.
Yes.
As long as the other members you add are in harmony, you can add an infinite number of individuals and still have a beautiful orchestra. The minute you have disharmony, you add someone or something in that dilutes that harmony or causes you to be dissonant. That's when you start to have problems. So within your life, your work in your life, within an organization, within teams, if the goal is harmony, not balance, we can all move together towards the same direction. So that's the shift that I would love for more people to understand. You can work super hard. You can be successful and have a beautiful home life. You can also work for 3 hours a month and have a beautiful home life and a thriving business. There's no one way to do it. It's really understanding what drives you, what are your goals, and what do you want out of owning a business, or some people want to own a job. That's fantastic.
That's right.
Go ahead. If that's your version of harmony, I would empower you to chase that. But chasing someone else's dream or someone else's definition of success, someone else's definition of balance, it'll never, ever get you there. So I want more people, if you take away nothing else, understand what drives you and chase that harmony. And I promise you business will get way more fun.
Yes. Wow, that's great. And I really like that we can dispose of the word balance in that equation and talk about harmony, because that's really what we want. I mean, you shouldn't have one side of your life and the other side fighting against each other for your career. You really want to have that harmony. So, just as we're wrapping up, I wanted to ask you about, as you've gone through your career and these years, has there been maybe a piece of insight that came to you that really surprised you and you thought, wow, I did not see that coming, but I'm so glad that it intersected my path?
That's a big question. It's a good question. I would say maybe this is going to sound a little cynical too. You really have to be aware of who people are. And you have to trust yourself and your instincts and hopefully the Lord as well. But people can always surprise you. And what I'm kind of getting at here is when you enter into partnerships, whether they're personal relationships, business, even with clients or vendors, everybody puts on a good face at the beginning. And I'm naively optimistic by nature. Like that's just who I am. I always think the best of people, and I think everyone's doing things for the right reasons. But those right reasons are defined by me, and they're right
Hmm.
reasons. Like they could be doing the right thing, air quotes,
Yeah.
but it completely conflicts with my definition of what that is. So until you really truly understand who somebody is, it's very hard to move forward with that relationship. And I've
Hmm.
just seen so many times where great relationships, great friendships, great partnerships have crumbled because of an unknown situation. And I spend a lot of time in prayer saying, just Lord, please help me understand what my role is in this situation. Am I supposed to be here? Is this in your will? And I can use all of the help that I can get in that area. So that's one thing that looking back over my career and the multiple different careers and
Yes.
industries that I've been in, that's the one constant is until you really, really know somebody,
Yeah.
you might be unpleasantly surprised with the outcome.
Right. That's true. And therefore, you got to take that human assessment.
That's a nice plug. I do like that. Yeah, if more people would understand kind of what they're dealing with, the what to
Hmm.
expect from people in the strong state, in the weak state, and what that looks like. But even outside of that, I just truly, for me, that's the advice I would give back to myself
Right.
is, trust yourself, trust your judgment, but
Hmm.
just be aware. Have your eyes opened and don't be blinded by the things that shouldn't matter, the opportunity, the success, the money, all of that kind of stuff. Be true to yourself, your values, and that's what's going to carry you through life.
Yes. Well, on that note, Brandon, I got to say thank you so much for joining me for the 5 a.m. podcast. I've really enjoyed this conversation.
I love this, Michael. Thank you for having me. And I'm super glad it wasn't recorded at 5 a.m. because
Yes.
I would need way more coffee. But thanks for
Yes.
having me. This was great.
Man, it was my pleasure. Absolutely. And so, listeners, what a conversation, ladies and gentlemen. If you do want to, another plug, Brandon did not ask me for this. I know he's got good stuff there at HumanOp, but if you want to understand your true nature as an entrepreneur and discover how it impacts your business, please absolutely go visit humanop.com. And then you can, the much talked about human assessment. Take it. It's even patented, right, Brandon?
That is correct. Only assessment in the world that is patented.
Look at that. So, if nothing else, ladies and gentlemen, you got to get over there. Have a look. This powerful tool absolutely will help you gain some unprecedented clarity about how to align your business with your natural strengths. And it's not an ego boost, I would imagine. Some of those, like I had to take the DISC assessment. And Brandon, just from talking to you, or we could call it something else, something that rhymes with risk assessment. And I just say that because I could see the different reactions of people that loved their assessment and people that didn't love their assessment. And some were getting endorphins and some were getting grumpy. So There you go, ladies and gentlemen. What a great conversation. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you joining in on this conversation. If you haven't already, please help us grow the channel with a like, a subscribe, and a share with your friends. I'm sure there's others that you know who need to hear this message. And if you've liked what you've heard or watched today, please consider giving 5am Podcast a 5-star review. I mean, the 5 is already in the name, so the star review is not that far off of the mark. Thank you for that. And of course, again, I will thank our friends that have gone over to buymeacoffee.com/5am podcast. We appreciate your participation in what we're working towards here at 5am Podcast. So thank you everyone for your support. And until next time, please seize your day. Enjoy those sunrises, sunsets, and all those adventures in between. I'm Michael Klassen. Thanks for watching the show. Just a reminder that you can get all of our resources, other episodes, and read our blog posts at 5ampodcast.com.